Hi students, today we are discussing the chapter Morphology of Flowering Plants. We can expect around 3 to 5 or 3 to 4 questions. Some year maybe 5 questions are asked in the Neet examination. And this chapter is filled with many examples. The chapters like biology classification, plant kingdom, animal kingdom and morphology is with different examples. So you have to make different tabular column to study the specific examples. So in morphology we are mainly discussing about flower, the morphology of flowering plants. Morphology, we know that it is the external study of organism. And we are dealing with angiosperm or flowering plant because angiosperms are the most advanced group of plants and it is the most widely distributed plant and it is widely economically important group of plants. So we are giving more importance to angiosperms. And in angiosperm, flower is the modified shoot. Flower is the modified shoot and it has 4 words like calyx, corolla, andrecium and gynoecium. And calyx in the floral formula, it is represented by K and corolla by C and andrecium by A and gynoecium by G. So these are the symbols used in the floral formula of a plant. K is calyx and C is corolla, A is andrecium and G is gynoecium. Calyx, the individual member is sepal. Calyx is the outermost word and it is generally green in color and that it may be fused or free, and the individual member of calyx is called as sepal, and corolla is variously ornamented, variously colored, the second word, and it is called as its individual member is called as petals. Its individual member is called as petals. And these 2 words, that is calyx and corolla, which is not directly involved in the reproduction of the angiosperm or the plant, so they are called as non-essential word, or it is also called as accessory organ. It is accessory organ. Calyx and corolla are accessory organ because they are not directly involved in the process of reproduction. But in the case of andrecium, the third word, andrecium, the individual member is stamen, and andrecium is represented by capital A in the floral formula, and the individual members are called as stamen, and it is the male reproductive organ. And gynoecium, the individual member is pistil. Or it is also called as carpel, and it is represented by, the gynoecium is represented by G in the floral formula. And gynoecium is the female reproductive organ. And andrecium and gynoecium is called as essential word because they are directly involved in the process of reproduction, and that's why they are called as essential word or they are reproductive organ. And when a flower which possesses all the 4 words, and such flowers are called as complete flower. A complete flower which has all the 4 words. But in the case of incomplete flower, that is any one word is absent, if calyx or corolla or andrecium or gynoecium, any one word is absent, it is called as incomplete flower. For example, male flower. What is male flower? Male flower is a unisexual flower, that contain only andrecium, not gynoecium, that contain calyx, corolla, andrecium, but not gynoecium. And such a unisexual flower is a incomplete flower. And also male flower is also called as staminate flower. Male flower is also called as staminate flower, and the female flower is called as pistillate flower. What is female flower or pistillate flower? It has only gynoecium, not androecium. It contains carpel and it never contains stamen or androecium. And such a flower is called as pistillate flower, and pistillate flower and staminate flowers are incomplete flower. So on the basis of the possession of all the world or not, flower can be divided into two types. One is incomplete flower and the second is complete flower. And on the basis of the number of floral whorls, that is calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium, on the basis of the number of floral whorls, flower can be divided into different types. The importance of morphology. In the last chapter we have studied that there are different system of taxonomy like natural system, artificial system and also phylogenetic system. In any system of classification, the primary concern, that is morphological character or external feature of the organism, is concerned for the classification or taxonomy. But in the case of angiosperm, flower is the conspicuous and varying character. So flower is mainly used in the taxonomy. So each term, that is unisexual or complete flower, incomplete flower, every term is important for the taxonomical purposes. So in the case of number of whorls, possession of number of whorls, appendages in the number of whorls, the flower can be divided into three types. That is, first one is trimerous flower. The meaning of tri, which means three, and trimerous, that is the floral appendages are in, that is calyx or corolla, or the non-essential whorl and essential whorl are in a number of 3 or its multiple. 3 or its multiple. And it is a characteristic of trimerous flower is a characteristic of monocot families. So what is trimerous flower? Trimerous flower, the floral appendages are in a number of 3 or its multiple, and it is a characteristic of monocot family. And in our NCERT, we are studying 3 families and 1 floral formula, and describes about 1 family also. And 3 family characters we are studying: Fabaceae, Solanaceae and Liliaceae. Of this, Liliaceae is a trimerous flower. It is an example for trimerous Liliaceae. Liliaceae is an example for trimerous flower because that contain the floral appendages are in a number of 3 or its multiple. And tetramerous flower, floral appendages are in a number of 4 or its multiple. 4 or its multiple. That is a number of calyx, number of corolla, number of androecium are in a number of 3 or 4 or its multiple, and it is a characteristic of dicot families. It is a characteristic of dicot family. And one example, that is we are studying as a part of NCERT, that is mustard, belonging to the family Brassicaceae. Brassicaceae is an example for tetramerous flower. So what is trimerous and what is tetramerous flower? And the third one is pentamerous. Penta, we know that penta is 5. So the floral appendages are in a number of 5 or its multiple. Let me examine one example of pentamerous flower. The floral formula of one pentamerous flower is, this is one pentamerous flower. So this floral formula, when we examine, the calyx has a number of sepals 5, corolla has a petal of 5, and gynoecium, it has a petal of carpels of 5 carpel. So there is a similarity in the number, and it is a floral formula. We know a common plant that is called as China rose or hibiscus. This floral formula belonging to China rose. And in our NCERT, we are studying three family: Fabaceae, Solanaceae, and Liliaceae. Liliaceae is a tetramerous flower, so we can say that it is a monocot family. And other two families, that is like Fabaceae and Liliaceae, Fabaceae and Solanaceae, they are with pentamerous flower. So the examples for the pentamerous flower, that is, one is Fabaceae, as per our NCERT, Fabaceae and Solanaceae, and it is a characteristic feature of dicot. So dicot flower may be pentamerous or tetramerous. So on the basis of number of appendages in the whorls of flower, the flower can be divided into three types: trimerous, tetramerous, and pentamerous. So next is, on the basis of position of ovary, the flower can be divided into three different types. One is hypogynous flower. Hypogynous flower, that means the thalamus which occupies thalamus. This is the thalamus. This is the pedicel or the stalk. And gynoecium, which occupies in the highest position the thalamus. Gynoecium, which occupies in the highest position the thalamus. And all other floral whorls like calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium, they originate below it. So the ovary which occupies highest position in the thalamus, and all other floral parts originate below it. So the ovary is superior. Ovary is superior ovary, and it is represented by the floral formula G underlined. When we in the floral formula G is underlined, that represents it is hypogynous. Hypo means below, and gynous, gynoecium, below gynoecium. That is, all the floral parts are below the gynoecium. The origin of all the floral parts are below the gynoecium. And we are studying the three families like Fabaceae, Solanaceae, and Liliaceae are with a hypogynous in nature. So all the member, and the specific example as per NCERT, that is China rose, mustard, and tomato. Tomato belong to Solanaceae family, mustard is a member of Brassicaceae family, and China rose we are studying. China rose is a member of Malvaceae family. So in the case of hypogynous flower, the ovary occupies in the highest position, that is the superior position, and all other floral parts are originating below it. And the next one, that is its opposite, that is in the case of epigynous flower, the margin of thalamus grow upward. The margin of thalamus grow upward, and it completely encloses the ovary. It completely encloses the ovary. So the margin of thalamus grow upward, and it completely encloses the ovary and getting fused with it. So this is the ovary, and this is the style region, but it is fused with the thalamus. So gynoecium below the all other floral parts, and here the margin of thalamus grow upward, and it completely encloses the ovary, and all other floral parts develop above it. So that's why the ovary is inferior, and it is represented by G upperlined. And here the ovary is inferior, and the examples are cucurbits or gourds, and guava, and ray florets of sunflower. Three examples as per NCERT: cucurbits, guva, and ray florets of sunflower. So in the case of epigynous flower, ovary is inferior and all other floral parts above the ovary. And the third one, that is in between hypogynous and epigynous, and in this case, the thalamus somewhat discoid in shape, and ovary occupies in the middle of thalamus. Ovary occupies in the middle of thalamus, in the center of thalamus, and all other floral parts develop around it on a rim at almost same level. So the thalamus has a discoid shape and the ovary occupies in the center of the thalamus and all other floral parts around it on a rim at almost same level. And such a flower, the ovary is called as half inferior, or in some times it is also called as half superior. Half inferior, that is in the middle. So all the floral parts, that is gynoecium, stamen, petal, everything in it at almost the same level. And 3 example, and it is represented by G sideline, and 3 example. One is plum, peach and rose, PPR. Plum, peach and rose, and several times this example was asked in the examination. Which of the following is an example for perigynous flower? Plum, peach and rose. So on the basis of the position of gynoecium, flower can be divided into 3 different types: hypogynous, epigynous and perigynous. And on the basis of the symmetry, the flower can be divided into 3 types. On the basis of symmetry, that is which plane, the flower can be divided into 2 types. On the basis of symmetry, the flower can be divided into 3 types. First one, actinomorphic flower. Actinomorphic flower, that is represented by the symbol a round with cross mark, a cross with a round, and here the flower can be divided into 2 equal half through any vertical radial plane. A flower can be divided into 2 equal half through any vertical radial plane, and such a flower is called as actinomorphic flower, and the flower is radially symmetrical. And we are studying out of the 3 families, the 2 families like Solanaceae and Liliaceae is with actinomorphic flower. So in their floral formula you can see this symbol, and the flower is radially symmetrical. Flower can be divided into 2 equal half through any vertical radial plane. And the examples, these are the 2 families, and all the family member that is represented as per the NCERT are eligible for the actinomorphic flower. And other examples are, one is China rose and mustard brinjal. Brinjal is a member of Solanaceae. And the second type of flower on the basis of symmetry, that is flower can be divided into 2 equal half only through one particular vertical radial plane. The flower can be divided into 2 equal half only through one particular vertical radial plane, and such a flower is called as zygomorphic flower, and it can be represented by a round with a single line, or as per our NCERT, the percentage. That is, the flower can be divided into 2 equal half only through one particular vertical radial plane, and such a flower is called as zygomorphic. And here the flower is bilaterally symmetrical. And the example, one of the family we are studying, Fabaceae only one family we are studying with the zygomorphic flower, that is Fabaceae. And the examples as per NCERT are gram, beans, cassia and gulmohar. Gram, beans, cassia and gulmohar. Gram and beans belong to the family Fabaceae, and cassia is very beautiful yellow colored flower, and cassia fistula commonly we are using in Vishu, that is during the April month. It's a yellow colored drooping flower, and gulmohar is commonly called as Mayflower or Delonix, and these flowers are with a zygomorphic flower, that is the flower can be divided into two equal half only through one particular vertical radial plane. And the third type of flower, that is a flower cannot be divided into through any vertical radial plane. The flower cannot be divided into any vertical radial plane, and such a flower is called as asymmetric or irregular flower. Asymmetric or irregular flower. And the example, only one example, that is Canna indica, belong to the family Ganesha. And here the flower cannot be divided into two equal half through any plane, and such a flower is called as irregular flower or asymmetric flower. Example, Canna. So these are the different classification, different types on the basis of the character of flower. The flower can be divided into either complete flower or incomplete flower, a bisexual flower or unisexual flower, on the basis of the presence of the whorls and also on the basis of the sexuality. That is, when the flower which has both androecium and gynoecium, such a flower is called as bisexual flower. And when it possesses only one reproductive organ like androecium or gynoecium, it is called as unisexual flower. And the flower can be divided into three different types on the basis of the number of whorls, number of appendages in the whorl: trimerous, tetramerous and pentamerous. Trimerous is a characteristic feature of monocots, and tetramerous and pentamerous is a characteristic feature of dicots. And we have studied about different families belong to pentamerous and trimerous and tetramerous. And on the base of position of gynoecium, the flower can be divided into hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous, that is superior, inferior or half inferior ovary, and it is very important for our NEET examination. And on the base of symmetry, the flower can be divided into three different types, that is asymmetric and zygomorphic and actinomorphic. Actinomorphic flowers are radially symmetric flower, and zygomorphic flowers are bilaterally symmetric flower, and irregular flowers are called as asymmetric flower. And so this is a base of the first part of the flower. And the next is we are discussing the different whorls and their characters like aestivation and placentation, and then we will study about the three family. That is the important part of the different whorls like calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx is represented by K in the floral formula, and the individual members are sepal. And the sepal are green in color, and normally they protect the flower in the bud stage. When the sepals are fused, it is called as gamosepal, it is called as polysepalous. So in the floral formula with 5 sepal, and if it is free or fused, it will be represented by 5 inside the bracket. If the sepals are free, it is if it is the number is 5, it is represented without a bracket. So the bracket that represents the fusion of the petals, fusion of the whorls. And the corolla Corolla is a second word and it is represented by capital C, and the individual members are called as petal, and it is varied color and very beautiful, and that will give a particular attractive nature to the flower, and it is very conspicuous in many cases. And when the petals are free, it is called as polypetalous, and when the petals are fused, it is called as gamopetalous. So fused, it is called as gamopetalous. And in the case of when we are considering petal and sepal, petals which have more taxonomical or morphological importance because it is more conspicuous. So that's why when we are using the floral formula, these characters are very important. And if it is free, then C5. If it is fused, then inside the bracket. So this is a representation. And next is the petal and sepal. The arrangement of sepals and petal one another in a word, it is called as the arrangement of sepals or the appendages of sepals or petal one another in a word is called as estivation. The arrangement of appendages of sepals or petals in a word, it is called as estivation, and it is of 4 different types. First one is valvate. In the case of valvate, the appendages are not overlapped. It represents side by side. And the example, the typical example that is as per NCERT, Calotropis. Calotropis. And we are studying the family Solanaceae and also Liliaceae. Members are with valvate estivation. The sepals and also petals both are showing the valvate estivation. And the next is twisted. Twisted, which means when the sepal is just twisted, one appendage will be overlapped with another. You can see here one appendage is overlapping here, one appendage is overlapping here. So each appendages are overlapped, and that is called as twisted. And the examples are China rose, cotton, and lady's finger. And all the examples are as per NCERT, and all the examples are NCERT. You stick on only the examples that is given as per NCERT textbook. These 3 are belong to the same family. The name of the family is Malvaceae family. We know that all the families of suffixes ACAE. You can see here Solanaceae, Liliaceae and Malvaceae. All families the suffix is CEAE. And the twisted estivation, the appendages are overlap one another. And here the examples are China rose, cotton and lady's finger, and belong to the family Malvaceae. And the third is imbricate estivation. And listen one thing, this valvate estivation and also twisted estivation are with actinomorphic flower. The flower can be divided into 2 equal half through any vertical radial plane. But in the case of imbricate flower, you can see this is the first word, second, third, fourth and fifth appendages of the word. The first is completely outside, the third is completely inside. That is, the floral appendages are overlapped but not in a particular direction. The floral appendages are overlapped but not in a particular direction, and such a flower is called as imbricate flower. And the example is Cassia and Gulmohar. So it is a zygomorphic flower. In the last part we have studied about zygomorphic flower. The examples are Cassia and Gulmohar. And one year they are asked the zygomorphic imbricate flower. Zygomorphic imbricate flower is only 2 examples, that is, and one is Cassia and another is Gulmohar. In the case of zygomorphic flower, we have studied, for example, that is pea, beans and Cassia, Gulmohar. And pea and beans, that is not showing the imbricate estivation, but the imbricate estivation is a zygomorphic flower, and the examples are Cassia and Gulmohar. And the fourth type, that is vexillary vexillum. There is it is also a a zygomorphic flower, the flower can be divided into two equal half only through one particular vertical radial plane. And here three types of specific different types of petals are present. Here all the petals are similar in nature, but here the petals are different and they have specified character. That is, there is a large standard petal and it is called as vexillum, and there are two wing petal and two keel petal fused. And that estivation is a characteristic of vexillary estivation is a characteristic of Fabaceae. When we are studying the Fabaceae floral formula, it is represented by C1 plus 2 plus 2. That is, this one is standard petal and the 2 is two wing petal and 2 inside the bracket is 2 fused keel petal. So it is the characteristic of Fabaceae family, and it is with vexillary estivation and also zygomorphic in nature. The flower can be divided into two equal half only through one particular vertical radial plane, and that is present in the Fabaceae vexillary estivation. And examples are pea and beans, and all the examples of the Fabaceae are eligible for vexillary estivation. So we have studied about calyx and corolla and also estivation. Estivation is, the diagrams are very important and the examples are also important for the examination. And next is the andrecium. Andrecium is the male reproductive organ and it is represented by A in the floral formula. And the individual members are stamen. Stamen has two parts. One is filament and the second is anther. Normally the anther is bilobed. So such a anther is called as dithecous anther. We are studying the same in the second year chapter, sexual reproduction flowering plant. And when the anther is single lobed, it is called as monothecous, and monothecous is with the two pollen chamber and it is bisporangiate. But in the case of dithecous, it is tetrasporangiate. Okay, that is 4 pollen chambers are present. We have drawn the cross section of the anther and everything. And on the basis of the fusion of filament one another, the andrecium can be divided into different types. One is monodelphous, that is, this is one stamen, another. Here I am drawing 5 anther. One is one stamen, second stamen, third one, fourth one, sixth one. But these are overlapped or fused, not overlapped, fused one another. They are fused one another and form a staminal tube. So the stamens are fused to form a single bundle. Stamens are fused to form a single bundle, and it is called as monodelphous and it is present in China rose. And in the case of floral formula, it is represented by A infinite, because numerous stamens are present, but it is fused, so it is represented by infinite inside the bracket. And the second type, that is diadelphous, the stamens are fused to form two bundles, and the example is, it is a characteristic of Fabaceae, and here 9 stamens are in a bundle and one is separate. So the floral formula is represented by A 9 plus 1, Fabaceae. And polyadelphous, that is, many bundles are present. Many bundles, more than 2 bundles are present, and it is present in polyadelphous, it is present in citrus. And polyandrous, which means free stamen. Each stamen are free, it is called as polyandrous. And when the stamens are fused with, or the filament is fused with the petal, when the stamen are fused with the petal, it is called as epipetalous. Epipetalous. When the stamens are fused with the petal, it is called as epipetalous. So when we take a the cross section of a flower, this is the cross section of a petal, and the stamen may be attached with here. It is in the ixora. So the stamens are fused with the petal. Such a one is called as epipetalous, and in floral formula, it is represented by C5. A5, C is fused, and A is this is representing this overbridge, this bracket is representing, this is representing the fusion between the corolla and androecium. So on the basis of the characteristic feature of androecium, the flower the androecium can be maybe monodelphous, diadelphous, polyadelphous, polyandrous, or epipetalous. Epipetalous, which means the stamens are fused with the petals. And the next one is gynoecium. Next one is gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female reproductive organ. Gynoecium is the female reproductive organ, and it is represented by G. Gynoecium can be represented by G, capital G, and the individual members are pistil or carpel, and it has three major parts. One is stigma, the upper receptive surface, style, and ovary. Three different parts. And when one carpel or one pistil is present, it is called as monocarpus. Monocarpus, which means when only one carpus is present. When only one carpus is present, it is called as monocarpus. And the Fabaceae is an example for monocarpus ovary. And when many carpels are present, it is called as polycarpus. It is called as polycarpus. And polycarpus can be divided into two types. When many carpels are present, each carpels are free, it is called as apocarpus ovary. Apo means free. When each carpels are free, it is called as apocarpus, and the examples are very important. Examples are rose and lotus. Rose and lotus. Many carpels are present, each carpels are free, then it is called as apocarpus. And second year we are studying another example that also you have to remember, that is Michaelia. Michaelia champak. It is a apocarpus. When many carpels are present, it is fused, then it is called as syncarpus. It is called as syncarpus. And we are studying the families like Solanaceae, Liliaceae are with syncarpus. Syncarpus is China rose is also syncarpus. They are fused with to form a single bundle. And on the basis of, we know that ovary which contain ovule, and the ovules are attached to ovary in placenta, and the arrangement of ovule inside ovary is called as placentation. Is called as placentation. So placentation is the arrangement of ovule inside ovary, and there are five basic types. One is marginal placentation. Marginal, when we take a ovary, the ovules are attached on the marginal part, and it is present in P, that is, it is a characteristic of the family Fabaceae. So we are studying different characters of this family now itself. So you have to consolidate all the characters as per our textbook. You stick on the character that is given only in the NCERT. So here the marginal is the ovules are present on the marginal part. And the next is, second is, the ovary is divided into different chamber, and ovules are attached on the central part or in the axial position, then it is called as axial placentation. And axial placentation is present in China rose, then tomato and citrus. And we are studying two families, Solanaceae and also Liliaceae with axial placentation. And the third type, the ovary is not divided into different chamber, no locule, and the ovules are attached freely on the center, and that is called as free central. Free central. And the examples are dianthus and primrose. Dianthus and primrose. And the next is the last type, fourth one, that is the ovules that is present on the peripheral, the placental region is peripheral region, and normally the ovary is single chamber, but due to the presence of a false septum, called rupulum. Don't forget the name, rupulum. False septum. It is divided into two chamber, and it is called as, this type of ovary is called as, this type of placentation is called as parietal. And two example, it is very important, mustard and argemone. Mustard and argemone. Mustard and argemone. And the next one, the ovary, which is monocarpous, and a single ovule is present at the base, so it is called as basal. Single ovule is present at the base, and it is called as basal. And it is, the examples are sunflower and marigold. So what are the different types of placentation? Marginal placentation, peep or Fabaceae member. Axial placentation, China rose, tomato and citrus, and the specified families we are studying, Solanaceae and Liliaceae with many ovule, and there are different locule, and ovules are attached to the axial position. When the ovule is attached to the central part of free central, and there is no septa or there is no locule, it is called as free central. Dianthus and primrose, this is another two important one. And when the ovules are attached on the parietal position on the peripheral part, and the ovary is actually single chambered, when it is double chambered due to the presence of a false septum called rupulum, and it is present in mustard and argemone. And when the ovule, which is with a single ovule at ovary with a single ovule attached to the basal part, it is called as basal, and the examples are sunflower and marigold. All these examples, all the placentation is very important, and also aestivation is also very important. The examples are important. So draw each and every basic character feature and study very well about the placentation, aestivation and the floral character. We have to explain, we have to expand, or we have to know the family and the floral character very well. And the floral formula is the representation of the floral character by using symbols and number. It is a representation of floral character by using symbols and number, and it is an important tool in the taxonomy or identification. It is very important. And the Fabaceae has a family floral formula. This is a floral formula. So we have to explain. We know this is, first we will explain about the flower character. This is the symbol. We know the percentage that represents the symmetry. The first symbol is symmetry, then sexuality, calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. The symbol percentage that represents the flower is Zygo, Morphic. Then this is bisexual. And when we observe here 5, 5, 10. that is 5 or its multiple, we know that it is a pentamerous flower. So zygomorphic, bisexual, pentamerous, and this is this underlined, that is a character of ovary is superior but the flower is hypogynous. So the flower is hypogynous. So the flower of Fabaceae is zygomorphic, bisexual, pentamerous, hypogynous flower. Zygomorphic, bisexual, pentamerous, hypogynous flower. And what about calyx? Calyx, sepals are 5 and it is fused. So gamopetals, fused. So it is called as gamosepalous. Gamosepalous. And we know that we have already studied, that is the case of estivation in the corolla, that is vexillary. So here 1 plus 2 plus 2. 1 is standard petal, 2 wing petal and 2 keel petal fused. So in the case of corolla, the petals are 5 and vexillary or papillonaceous. And here the 1 standard petal, 2 wing petal and 2 keel petal fused. That's a specified character of Fabaceae family. And the andrecium stamen are 10. We know that it is diadelphous. What is diadelphous? The stamens, the filaments of the stamens are fused in 2 bundles, 9 in a bundle and one is separate. And gynoecium, we know that here gynoecium is ovary monocarpus and ovary superior ovary, and the placentation is marginal placentation. We have already studied about marginal placentation with many ovules. And the fruit is commonly called as legume, and the seeds are non-endospermic. This is the floral character of the family Fabaceae. Zygomorphic, bisexual, pentamerous, hypogynous flower, gamosepalous calyx, and vexillary polypetalous corolla, and diadelphous andrecium, and superior ovary, and it is monocarpus, and many ovule with marginal placentation. And the fruit is legume, and that's why the family is commonly called as Leguminosae family. And the second family is Solanaceae. This is the symbol. The flower character is actinomorphic. That the flower can be divided into 2 equal halves through any vertical radial plane. And the second symbol, that is, it is a bisexual flower. And we know that all the floral parts are in a multiple of 5 or its multiple, and it is a pentamerous and hypogynous. So what is the difference between the Fabaceae and Solanaceae basic character? Fabaceae is with a zygomorphic flower, but a Solanaceae is with the actinomorphic flower. All other characters are same. So Fabaceae is a zygomorphic, but Solanaceae is a actinomorphic. But both are bisexual, pentamerous and hypogynous. And what about calyx? Calyx here, sepal 5, gamosepalous, and it is with valvate estivation. And corolla, we can see corolla is also Petals 5 and gamopetalous, that is the fusion, gamopetalous condition, and it is also valvate estivation. And andrecium, how many andreciums are present? 5, that is epipetalous. What is epipetalous? The stamens are fused with the petal. Stamens are fused with the petal, and all gamopetalous flower there is epipetalous condition. All gamopetalous flowers are with epipetalous condition. And gynoecium is with a bicarpus, superior ovary, and axial placentation with many ovules, and the fruit is berry or capsule, and the seeds are endospermic, that is seed is with endospermic nature. So when we compare the two dicot families, because it is the pentamerous nature, the petals of Fabaceae is polypetalous, but the petals of Solani is gamopetalous. And in the case of androecium, and in the case of gynoecium, and in the case of petals, all are showing differences. So it is both are different family. It is a polypetalous family, it is a gamopetalous family. And in the gamopetalous nature, epipetalous is it's a mandatory condition. And gynoecium is with a bicarpus, superior ovary, and with axial placentation, and many ovules are attached to the Solon placenta. And the third family is Liliaceae family, and it is a monocot family. The only monocot representative we are studying. We already studied that in the chapter Plant Kingdom. 199 angiosperm families are in Bentham and Hooker classification. Out of this 199 family, starting with the Ranungulaceae and ending in the Poaceae family, we are studying only 3 angiosperm families and 2 dicot family and 1 monocot family. And the monocot, it is a monocot family, and here the flower character is BR, which means bracteate, bracts are present, actinomorphic, trimerous, we know that 3 or its multiple, trimerous, hypogynous flower. So the flower character is bracteate, actinomorphic, trimerous, hypogynous flower. Bracteate, it is with a bract, bracts are present, and actinomorphic, the flower can be divided into 2 equal halves through any vertical radial plane, and trimerous and hypogynous. And here P is present. P is perianth. Perianth is when calyx and corolla is not differentiated. When calyx and corolla have different character, then it is called as, one is called as calyx and another is corolla. But here 2 words are present, 2 rings are present, but each cannot be differentiated into calyx and corolla, and such a condition is called as perianth. And monocots, perianth is common, not a calyx and corolla. So the individual member of perianth is tepal. The individual member is tepal, and it is 6 in 2 whorl. 6 in 2 whorl. And androecium, and it is also gamotepalous. Androecium is stamen also 6, and it is epiphyllous. Epiphyllous, which means the stamens are fused with the tepal. And gynoecium, tricarpus with a 3 carpal condition, and a superior ovary. That's why it is underlined. And axial placentation with a many ovule, and the fruits are capsule and rarely berry. Capsule is a common fruit and rarely berry is present. And the seeds are endospermic. Seeds are endospermic. So when we compare the three families, Fabaceae, Solanaceae and Liliaceae, Fabaceae and Solanaceae are dicot families and they are with a pentamerous nature. And when we are comparing these two dicot families, Fabaceae and Solanaceae, Fabaceae is zygomorphic but the Solanaceae is actinomorphic. And the corolla of Fabaceae is polypetalous, but the corolla or petal of the Solanaceae family is Solanaceae is gamopetalous. So this is polypetalous and this is gamopetalous. And here vexillary estivation, valvate estivation. And here 10 stamen diadelphous, but here 5 stamen epipetalous. Monocarpous, bicarpous condition. Both are superior ovary. Here marginal placentation, but here axial placentation. And the fruit is legume, berry or capsule. So we know that on the basis of this reproductive or floral character, we are classifying the organism, the plant on the basis of different groups. And in this purpose we are making the key and floral formula and also floral diagram. So on the when in this regard when we are considering about the NCR the Neet examination, you have to study the floral formula and floral character. They will be asked when we sometimes the floral formula will be given and the character will be, you have to choose. So you have to interpret what is this each symbol, then everything become very simple. And in the case of Liliaceae, it is a monocot family and the monocot family is with a trimerous perianth. Trimerous condition is present and perianth is present, not sepal or petal. Tepals are present. And here the 6 petal tepals and in 2 whorls and also gamotepalous. Andrecium is epiphyllous. Ganesha tricarpus superior with axial placentation. Ovules are capsule. Here the ovules are capsule, rarely berry, but in the case of Solanaceae, berry is common but capsule is very rare. So these types of differences you must be study very well, and which is with endospermic and non-endospermic seed. So this is a brief about the 3 families. So write each and every point and study the example as per the NCERT textbook.
Bright Education Center, Medical and Engineering Entrance Coaching Center, Hilal area, Doha, Qatar. For further enquiries, contact 306000679.